Okay, this is kind of a weird angle. It's still his bed's over here. Sometimes I feel like I'm just like one of the dogs, just all like in a dog pile sleeping. I don't know. Sometimes I think it is probably strange, like, but legit, um, has been like the whole time I was single. She has been with me, and I have been her everything. So then, and she always slept in my room, in my bed, usually. But she would take over the bed. And then when she got sick, it was just weird because she just stopped climbing on things. She stopped climbing on the bed. She stopped climbing on the couch. The other day, she did go on the outside couch and got up there and laid down for a while. It was like, I was surprised. But yeah, she used to always, like, whatever time she would, if she was tired and she wanted to go to bed, she'd just get up and she'd just go in there and go to bed, or wherever we lived. She would just get up and go in the bedroom and get on the bed and go to bed. And then, yeah, it was so strange when she stopped. So I don't know. To me, it seems natural to want to come out here and sleep next to her. And then plus, that haunted room is hard to sleep in anyway. It's too energetic. There's too much going on in there. But anyway, so let me see. Because I don't know, it's like almost 7. I had the hardest time starting this morning. I was like, I don't know. Sometimes it's like, are you even saying anything that has any worth? Like, what are you doing? So, anyways, the drama continues with Blake and them. And it's, you got all these different perspectives coming out. And so there's been a few people that have said something that I thought was interesting, because they have said, bringing up about this seems like it's like the kind of relationship she's in, as like where he's domineering and stuff. I don't even remember the things that led the people to say it. One of them I just saw, and the girl was like, she liked her, she's always liked her, and she was saying it seems kind of like she's deflecting from the questions, like she's getting mad, like they're attacking her personally. And she said you wouldn't feel attacked personally unless it was really your story. And so maybe that's why she's trying to turn it all fluffy too. And she sees herself as being empowered, especially because at the same time you have all these stories coming out that on the set of Gossip Girl, how rude and hateful she was in the studio. Would pick her, other people would leave over her. And also she was going out with another what is that guy, Badgley or something. And he was also on this show. And there was a cat, or what are those people called? Not the casting people, the crew. There was a person who was on the crew. So they were on stage or on the play, where they're filming. And she said there was constantly, Blake was constantly getting in fights with him. She would try and take over his lines. She'd tell him how to say them. She would talk over him. She would yell at him. Sometimes she'd be yelling at him so much that it would interfere with other people's scenes and stuff. She didn't give a shit. And why in the world wouldn't the studios shut that down? Like when you're having to do scene over scene over scene because somebody's making noise. Like I've been on set, like you're not allowed to fucking make a sound. And she works, like she would know that. She just doesn't care. So she has like this kind of hateful personality. And then, so she's really domineering too, and just really, because this one person said she would just scream and scream and scream at her boyfriend. And, and he seemed kind of mild-mannered. So it seems kind of like this guy who did the directing, which there's more stuff coming out. Like there's more stuff, like big articles, like Hollywood Reporter, and it's disclosing all this stuff where it's like, oh my gosh, like there is so much corruption and hatefulness and stuff. Like, even I thought it was strange, like, how are you getting another cut of the movie? So you're going into, okay, so they make the scenes, and then they go in and they watch them like in a theater thing or something. They've shown this in movies, and I think it's called the dailies. So do they go in, they watch the dailies, and then they are like that scene or like that scene or whatever? And is that the editor is sitting there too, deciding how he's going to put them together? Or is this actor just going, oh, I want to take that scene and that scene, like they're just making their whole movie right there as a secondary movie and keeping notes and then taking it in and saying, put these scenes together and make me a cut. And then she's going to take it and sell that cut to Sony. Like, the corporation, the corruption behind the corporation is just, it's so in our face right now. It's crazy. There's a huge case going on too with I think it's over by New York or something. And something's being exposed, because all this stuff is always to expose another thing, like I said. And something is being exposed is, I don't even know if I can get it all right. But a senator or something. And so she sent a huge amount of money, like $700K, over to this girl who is the daughter of the judge on the Donald case. And not only did she send him this big giant lump sum, but when they started looking, a whole bunch of blue people, not the religious blue, but the political blue, had sent this huge amount of money. So now it's being investigated low-key. It's not mainstream. Low-key being investigated for laundry system, which that's all we fucking live in, is a goddamn gangster laundromat. It's fucking so crazy. And what was it? Okay, so I had seen this couple, and like what I had talked about, this is something I've been talking about for a while, this is what the government does. They're doing it right in front of us. And so, this is how they take land and stuff. And so I had talked about the families that have had land for a long time, and they would have huge amounts of land too. And I don't know, how things were divided up when there was like so few of people and so much land. And it was like, well, I have all this right here, you have all that right there. But there was always been a lot of stuff that has gone on, because you can't own the fucking earth. Where in the hell has you ever seen Earth selling herself, putting herself up there for sale? No, we take advantage of her like she's a whore and we don't pay her. But she is not selling herself. Just as abuse. And so, but that's why I've talked about, it's the tending the land. It's working in harmony. It's being a part of her and her giving back to you. It's like you caring it, being a caretaker for the land. And born as a earthling, then we are like the children of the earth. And so it is our duty to give back to what gives us life. It's like this balance back and forth of giving life and sustaining life. And so but in this case that's going on, there was a family, I think it's in Wyoming, and they had like, I don't know, 100 acres or something that their families had for 120 years or something. And so their families own this land, farmed this land, taken care of this land for a long, long time. There's some weird stuff about the parameters, because that is like, I think that's why a lot would go out and string theirs with the wire and stuff, and then and be like, well, my cows, I gotta keep them contained or whatever. But kind of trying to like, this is mine. Like, I did that on my fence. I went out to the full thing of my yard and put my fence. The neighbor, she cut all this part out of her, well, her husband put it up, and I had discussed it with her before. And now he's gone. Now she's like, yeah, I'm like missing all these parts of my yard. I'm like, yeah, I went and did my whole yard. Like, this is, oh my God, I'm going to put a fence up. This is what I'm putting a fence around. Don't get it in your head that this is someplace you can be. Like, and that it's important too, like the no trespassing signs and stuff, because that's their invention. So it's supposed to work on them. So you got to be putting up private property, no trespassing and stuff. And they'll keep trying to make it, prove it and stuff. So these people, then the National Forest comes in and claims this land right up to theirs. And that is some bullshit. And then plus their line was already out past what the government was trying to come in and claim. So the government tries to come in and claim land that is theirs already by all sense of standards. And so then now the government has arrested the people and it's charged them, and they separately. So apparently they have to get 2 different legal teams to take care of this. And they're saying that they owe the government. So they're trying to make them be in trouble for something that was like 100 years ago or something to begin with. And then the other thing is, this is how the government steals land. This is their fucking shenanigans. And so that's what I said. All this stuff is playing right out in front of us. But the thing is that we need to see is this is the way, this is why we all have nothing. Why we're all in these, this has been going on for a long time. And it is so much about us, of how much abuse that we are willing to take, is that is where it's like, put on the brakes and say, no, I'm done with this abuse. And that is like by no accident that this is the kind of stuff that's coming up at this time of change, where there's some old man who, his video is getting shared, so I don't know who he is or whatever, but he is saying that God spoke to him on the 13th, no, the 15th or 6th, no, maybe it was the 16th. I don't know, because there was something about 3 days, because he was showing this whole thing about 3 days in the vision, and the 3rd day is today. So today God told him that God is going to make himself known to all the people. God's going to let people know what's up. And it's it could be something with the sun, because that's how he was seeing his vision. The sun was doing something weird. But it did it 3 separate times. So then when he asked, and then God told him, and that it was the 3rd day that this would go down, which is today. So like today is another day where, but every day, it doesn't matter. And everybody's going to keep getting these prophetic dreams and stuff, because yeah, your guide, the universe is speaking out to you, trying to get you to see. And when you keep hearing this stuff, and just remember too, this is their communication. So maybe they weren't listening, or maybe they're supposed to share, or whatever the case may be. But no matter what, we're going into this huge time of change. Like, something big is going to happen. It is like, it raises the intensity when you have these people who keep saying, well, it's going to be today, it's going to be today. Then it's just like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Is it going to be today? But no matter what, it's going to be one of the days. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen that's going to change everything. In the way it's been going, though, the thing is it's been going so slow. Like, it's weird how slow we've been going into this. And to me, it's kind of like, because I keep thinking that this is going to be hugely abrupt. When this thing happens, it's going to be just like, you are in the kitchen and you're trying to make dinner and you are doing all this stuff, and then you hit the glass and the glass tips over and spills that fast. There's going to be something that just happens and it just spills that fast. That's what I think. But then how it's been playing out is so slow, slowly leading in, slowly getting people's attention, slowly moving us, and trying to guide us into seeing. Like, there's so, man, There's also this thing of uh, this Israeli guy or something. Some uh, what is that guy called? Like a space. Their person who would have been in charge of like aeronautics or space or sky or something, and military or government or whatever. And then he has said that about um, the aliens and stuff. Like he talks to the Galactic Federation or something, and that Donald was going to tell us, and he had said something, and Donald was going to spill it, but then the Federation asked him to please hold off, and so they're holding off until we are more accepting. Like we have to be accepting of information, and everybody's so programmed and cut off that is difficult. I just also saw this video. This video was really good. This girl did really good on this video. She got so much information out there. And so she was talking about the food in America and, you know, the obesity problem and stuff like that. And she was saying in all these other countries where people are slim and trim and the old people just look, you know, like the same, only a little bit older, is and not, you know, not everybody's just overweight and sick and stuff like that, is that they are, you know, they get normal food, like they're eating food, real food, stuff that is natural, not covered in chemicals and stuff. And there isn't fast food restaurants on every corner for everybody to glutton on, and how bad the stuff is that we eat. And she said none of those people go to gyms. You know, we've got people here going to the gym for hours, trying to eat organic, trying to eat right, do all of these things, and they're still way overweight. And she said also a diagnosis of that we have here as Alzheimer's is called diabetes 3 in other places. So it's just another step, you know, once your system is all out of whack, then it starts affecting your mind. Well, of course, you know, it's a system, like a domino system. It all has this particular order of things, and that's just like the micro macro. Oh, this was kind of cool too, because at first I thought the picture did this, but then I went back as it was eating at me. I went back and looked, and then I saw it was like two different pictures, but still it was like my guidance wanted me to see it the way that I saw it the first time, because it was so like, it was really cool. Because at first, and I don't know what this was just some pictures and somebody talking. And but in this one picture, so it was showing like this like waterfall, like the side of a mountain kind of thing, and like a little cliff thing, a little water thing here, and so like a ledge here, and like a person standing on this ledge. And then the picture became this, where it wasn't this waterfall and ledge, it was a person, a big face of a person that was sitting there doing something. And the way it hit me was like, that's exactly what I keep trying to say. If I could just show this picture. It's like you see one thing, but there's another thing there. This is the shifting in realities. This is what we are doing in our opening our mind, is shifting. That's why we can start to see and access more things around us, because we're making this shift of consciousness. And so it opens us up to be able to recognize and comprehend more than we could before. But it was, even though it was like two different pictures, and how my mind had taken it the first time was that I was seeing the picture looking this way, and then all of a sudden I saw a different picture in the picture. And they have those all the time anyways. Like I see those all the time. And there's even different things about your personality depending on what you see in the picture that can give you things about your personality, like what you look at, what you pay attention to and stuff. But that is like how realities and realms, that's how the universe works. And another thing too is when you think of this concept of everything just being you, because this is something that kind of trips me out, is so if everything is just you, you would have so much more control of everything. And so it would just go at a pace you wanted it to go. It wouldn't be this, destiny and timing and all these other people have to have this happen and this has to happen for them and that makes this happen for them and then that happens over here and this happens over there. It's like this fucking domino effect through life. If it was just all coming from us, see, that wouldn't be. Just to me, it just is clear that we're all separate souls. We're all separate souls having our own perspective over what is occurring. So it isn't just like you're just making life up inside yourself and there's nothing there. And you're just making it up because there's other beings involved. And it's like we use each other in order to see ourselves. So it's like a necessity. Oh, that okay, because how do you know a tree makes a noise if you're not there? So it's the same kind of thing. We need each other to give ourselves perspective. And that is why you can tell like it is more at an adolescent development stage in this process of how we have to compare ourselves to everybody else to try and understand ourselves. And this is common because I'm seeing more people like be like, I couldn't stand this about me. I don't like this or whatever. And then I saw this actor who looked like me or had the same body as me, because this happened to me too. And then when I could see them and I could think, oh, they look attractive. They look good. I like that. Then I could see it more in myself. And so that is, I always thought that was kind of a benefit of seeing people up there because it kind of gave you a perspective of yourself. Because I would do that all the time when I was a kid. Like I would be watching something, I'd be like, well, okay, so would I be that person? Am I that size? Is that who I would be fitting into society? Like trying to get this this ocular kind of representation of an idea of myself. And that's weird too, because it is like you do process through the vision of yourself because you're not walking around looking in a mirror all the time. And you do get feedback from other people's faces, but it's a distorted feedback because you don't know what it is they're paying attention to. And confirmation. And people take it personally all the time. And that's one thing that seems to be coming to the surface too, is people starting to realize like, don't take other people's problems personally. Like because they have a problem doesn't mean it's you, but people take it on as themselves. Man, there are so many people who are showing themselves. And there's way too much of everybody's got their goddamn phone. Like it's weird. Like just pay attention to some of the videos where they're trying to show this thing. It's like, who the fuck is videotaping this? Like this is set up. This is weird. And but this one, and I've seen other ones of these before, but it's just sad. Like this girl, and I've been in this situation before where someone lost their mind and tore your shit up. Like tore every and I still married the motherfucker. That's how desperate I was. Oh my god damn, Kelly. But I'm always, I always want to give somebody another chance. Oh, they can do better. You just gotta, raise the bar. People can do better. Not only if they want to do better. They're not going to do better until they want to do better. That was something I really wanted to talk about yesterday too, was because something about, if you tell somebody to not drink, like we've all done it. Like this is a big thing happening right now too. On all different levels, because apparently it's happening even with Justin Timberlake, all different people. Like, I don't know, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with your drunkenness and stuff. And so, and that is, setting your boundaries. But the thing is that the person then is just trying to please your boundaries and holding resentment the whole time because it's not something they want. They just want you to shut the fuck up. They just want everything, like, they don't want it to go extreme. They don't want to have to move out. They don't want to have to do that, all that. That's way too much. It's a lot easier just to shut you the fuck up. And then there's usually always becomes a temptation. They'll start sneaking around. I know so many people, so I've lived that too, where, yeah, they quit drinking, just don't notice what's in their trunk. And they just carry around an ice chest full of alcohol or a big mug, or they're always drinking something. And, you don't need to know what's in that cup. It's just what they want to drink. It's Kool-Aid, it's soda, it's whatever. And, it's just, and then they don't even look at it as like they're lying, because you're pushing them into not getting to be themselves. And so when it comes down to it, when you're really in this relationship where you're trying to establish boundaries and stuff, and I was going to Al-Anon and stuff when I was little too, because I was raised in an alcoholic family, and that, and I did go, like, I was going to counseling and stuff like that, but it was always because, like, I had a problem, is how it looked to everybody else, because I didn't do well in this dysfunctional place. And I just don't do well with just lots of things. I mean, somebody who just chooses to drink and not make their life better. Like, I don't understand that. And so anyways, but going to Al-Anon and stuff, I learned these kinds of things a long time ago. Oh, maybe it was I went to Al-Anon as a young adult in I think it was my second bad relationship. I don't know if I went as a kid. Maybe I was just getting started. Maybe my mom had mentioned it. I don't know, because there's something about it from when I was younger. But I did start going when I was like in my early 30s. And so I do know that and maybe because I did used to read a lot of self-help books. And I would have done that because I was like, I did not like to go around people and talk. And I was very, like, you had to be one-on-one to talk. And then I was too deep. I was too, too weird. So, anyways, it was, but I learned about you can't, being an enabler is like cleaning up their mess. They have to suffer their consequences. And sometimes the consequence is losing you. And that is what is going to affect them through their life. It's going to make the change. As long as you keep staying and allowing them to, turn your life into a fucking circus, then that's the way it's going to go. And they're going to hold it against you when you try and keep them around you and stop them. Even with my last husband, I said, like, his parting words were like, I choose alcohol. I don't want to be married. I'm choosing alcohol to be married too. I was like, okay, good luck to you. I don't know who you're going to blame when things go wrong. That's one of the problems, is that you get blamed for everything. Every little thing that makes them feel bad is because they're so fragile. That's why they drink, and they stay fragile because they continue to drink, because they don't ever emotionally mature. They just become weaker and more whiny. And so, it's more of a handicap. If you can't go anywhere without being drunk, if you have to have a bunch of drinks in order to be around people, then you got to start noticing, like, you have a handicap. Like, they've sold that to us like it's normal, but it's not. It's not emotionally mature to need to be drunk to go and be around people. So that side of people needs to heal. And so it's not by any accident that this is coming up so much in our collective, with this resurfacing, because there has been so much of, people trying to be supportive and be there for people and noticing that there are problems and stuff. But then it's just a perpetuation, a continuation. Their problems don't get better because they're not willing to face them, because it's way easier to just go have a couple drinks, take the steam off, take the, not worry about things. And but you need this sense of worry. That's why I said you need this sense of guilt, the sense of worry. A lot of your ego work is humbling yourself. Well, I said, Blake could turn things around by humbling herself. Like, but she's not going to do that. And then, and then it makes a lot of sense too, what some of these people are saying, and why she's always trying to push, like, her relationship is so perfect, why she's got to constantly say it. Like, is she just trying to convince herself? Like, maybe her and, Ryan don't even really spend a lot of time together, for all we know. Maybe they just are very combative, and they're just, I mean, they could live in different houses for all we know. Like, how many different studio couples break up and get divorced, and then you find out, oh, well, they were living apart for 2 years. And so it's all just a facade. And then and who knows, I think, obviously, yeah, because the same with Taylor, that is so funny. The same with Taylor and the same with Blake, because they both look at their, look at who they are influencing. Look at who they're the role models for. So these young girls, like, what the thing is with Blake is, a lot of her girls now are like 30 years old, and instead of, them all running out to buy her hair products, now they're all just like, oh my God, was she always like this? So, like, they matured, and Blake didn't. But that's this, I don't know, diva lifestyle. Just surround me with yes sir, and don't challenge me because I'm too perfect. Well, that's going to end up a little embarrassing for you. You're going to be a 14-year-old adult then, because you're not going to have any sophistication. Like, that was one thing where people keep saying, like, it's like she doesn't even have anything to talk about, no substance to her. She's just like a pretty face. And that was something that I always thought was like a huge mistake. Because if you have people always telling you, oh, you're so pretty, you're so pretty, you're so pretty, then you can get way stuck up your own ass. And you could be thinking like, oh, well, I'm so pretty, what do I got to worry about? But that's the thing. If you don't have any substance to you, you're just something to look at. So, and if you're just something to look at, you're just something to own. You're just something to set on a shelf. You're the one who has to give yourself substance and say, no, I don't belong on a shelf. I belong on a fucking platform. Tell them, oh, speak of my mind. So, and that's what we all do. We all have a mind. We all have something to speak up about. Some people have just got trained to shut up. And these people, these girls, have done that to sell off their following, because then the corporation has a strong hold. I keep hearing Sony so loud. Like, it's probably no accident that she sold to Sony. Sony probably owns fucking rights somehow to Taylor too. Like, these people are studio owned or corporate owned. They're like mannequins for a corporation. They're the ones that go out and just speak to get you to buy the stuff that is being sold to you by the corporations. And then it's also to influence you. So what they were really doing, like, it's not like they support Blake because they think like she's some good person, is that they want her following. They want these young girls, especially with Blake's, obviously, they were at an age where they were entering like, like get all the girls to want to be Serena and have certain kinds of jobs and dress a certain way and live a certain lifestyle and stuff. And so those girls are starting to try and create their own lives, and they want them to chase this Serena lifestyle, this lifestyle that is so unattainable for the majority of people that are out there chasing it. And it's not because you don't deserve it. It's because that's not what you're here for. That's the thing. It has nothing to do with what they want to get you to chase. That's what is so absurd here. They want people to go out and chase this and be influenced by these people so that you're running around trying to get what they have, and it's not attainable because it's only per destiny. It's if you're destined, if that was what you came here for, if that's the experience you came here to experience, was to have a bunch of money, because there's lessons to it. Like they've sold you a dream, because just having a bunch of money does not make your life better. Your life becomes better when you choose it to be better, when it's your attitude, when you're happy with what you have, when you're happy with the people around you, when you work on your relationships and try and make them the best that they can be. That is when you are, you're going to feel the most abundant. It's not just because, well, I've got 14 storage buildings. I got a lot of art. I got a lot of cars. I got a lot of this. I got a lot of that. Then you are, that is the sense of gluttony, needing more, 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 more. And then that is how they keep people going, because it's not just like, oh, buy it right here and then you're set. No, and a couple months later, they're going to introduce another one and another one and another one. And you got to keep getting the next, the next, the next, the next. And it's never enough. There's never enough. And you want more, 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 more. But why didn't the thing 5 times ago make you happy enough that you didn't need this one? So that is where you're just chasing your tail. You just keep trying to find your happiness, find your completion, but you're just chasing yourself. That is funny. Yeah, because Max does that sometimes. He starts chasing his tail. And so I was just seeing that spinning around in the senselessness of it. It's just like, and you think about the humanity, the state of consciousness, this stage of development, like where the aliens are like, no, don't tell them yet. Keep it on the down low. We don't want them going too crazy, because of our, like we look at dogs of like, oh God, they're so stupid. You can just listen to how people talk. Like it's sickening. And, especially when you get to know dogs on a certain level and like, fuck, they're fucking smart as shit, man. And so the wait a second, I just have this thing going through my head about the dog thing with because it was a video. Oh yeah, because this girl, she was talking about that she has this dog. She's showing him the dog and stuff. And so when she goes out on dates or spends the night with her boyfriends or whatever, that she always leaves in the middle of the night because she's got to get home. And so this guy was like, well, I don't want you driving in the middle of the night. And she's like, no, I got to get home. My dog's going to be worried. And he's like, oh, dogs aren't going to be worried. Dogs don't think that much. They're not that smart and stuff. So he's just going off on dogs aren't smart. They're stupid. They don't think and all of that stuff. And she was like, no, my dog knows. It'll even shame me when I come home late and stuff. But like I've said before, Stella, like she acts like she's the mom of the house. She acts like she knows what's best. And she's the biggest. Like, and so, and Max has figured it out too. Like, it's like, well, what does Stella want? And she's like that kid from the Twilight Zone, the TV. No, she's really sweet, but she's very domineering. She's very set in what she knows is right, but she listens to me. Like she listens to me. She's respectful, but she has a certain way of running things for sure. And I appreciate her. To me, it's like I have like an assistant or something. Like she's very helpful to me. And like I said before, like, obviously I wouldn't even go outside. She's the one who makes me. She's the one who's always getting me to do this or getting me to do that. And I could go catatonic. I've got enough going on up in here. I don't need all of the other stuff. I could just go in my own little world. And it's hard sometimes to break free. Like that's one thing this morning even. I was like so much in my own world. It was like, God, I've got to just break free and go do what go do my work, go do what I'm, so I did have to just break free. And, but, I could sit there, fine. Like, um, and anyways, but she pushes me to get up. She'll push me, like, it's weird. Is she'll sit and like whine about something, and I'll go see, like, oh, it's like I needed to clean the yard. Every place has got poop. She has like little planters, and so she goes to the bathroom in the planters, and he's just started doing the same thing. So I mean, he's like so smart. He just pays attention. It's not like you have to show him. He just watches, and then he'll catch on. So he's such a good addition. So I really, really like him. I appreciate him. Appreciate the universe for sending him my way. And I just saw there was a thing of there was a whole bunch of pugs at the place that I'm a foster. They just got a whole bunch of them in, and they were looking for fosters. So I don't know, might take another one, but they're doing so good on getting along. Like, I hate to disrupt it, but then I hate for there to be dogs in cages. Like, this is just, it's outrageous, like the stuff that's going on. And I'm so glad that so many more people are becoming so much more outraged, because that's the movement that we get to close down these kill shelters. And then I just saw this whole thing about the bacon being made out. It's just like, oh, God damn. And then I had just bought this bacon, and now I'm like totally freaked to even feed it to him. Like, I'm like cannibalizing my dogs, like giving him the, God, this stuff is so aggravating. But the shelters, because they are just mass murdering like crazy, like I said. And there's so many rescues and stuff speaking out. So you have all these people who want to do rescues, who are trying to make more sanctuaries and stuff like that. When you think about like all the wildlife sanctuaries. So we got wildlife sanctuaries. We got, parks or areas of land where it's like, oh, this is a wildlife sanctuary. They get to live here. Just leave them alone. But we can't do that with dogs. We can't just be like, and then in a sanctuary, you plant it so it can be, better for an environment for them. So isn't there things that we could put out there? Like, I don't know. It just seems like that there could be food that would be growing and the animals would eat it. Like, my dogs go out, try and get into the compost, any of the stuff in the garden, garbage. That's what dogs are. They're scavengers. They will just eat out of the garbage. But like I was trying to get across the other day, like if they were still like wild, it's been generations that they've been domesticated. If they were still on the wilder spectrum, they would go out and, be more predatory and hunt rabbits or mice or whatever. But they are domesticated, so food is brought to them. But there's other ways that we could do it in the community without having to be like, just every time somebody cleaned out all their refrigerator and all their food after dinner, if everybody saved up their food and then they just delivered it to one of these places and that they just fed them scraps. That's all dogs need. They don't need all this fucking dog food and all these fucking vet things. Like, all the illnesses and stuff I've got Stella through without the vet, and how much I was spending on the vet prior to that, and then seeing like and how much better she's doing. Like, I swear to God, if I would have followed their stuff, she wouldn't have made it. There's no way. So I think they don't need all of that stuff, that they just charge up all this money on rescues and stuff over all this vet stuff. Like, well, they got to have all of these. They got to have all of this, all of this, all of this. And it's like, this is absurd. Like, I mean, why don't we just think of them as like wild animals at this point? all these, they need all of this stuff. Like, why can't we just let them be? Why do we have to be in so much control? And then you got to see like who it is who's really trying to control and what are they trying to control. And so, but I think that there's other ways that are a lot more sustainable, a lot more uh, earth friendly, you know, because there is so much scraps and stuff. And if people were using the scraps to feed other animals that need food, then it wouldn't be going to the landfills. And then if we did more with clothes, like there's got to be more because the landfills and stuff, there's just so much. Like our landfills, like when they go dig down, like I said, how you have all of these realms of different historical times. Just think of what our realm would look like. Like if you were to go up a couple hundred years and then you were to go and do a dig for our time period. Like they wouldn't be able to tell. They'd have to look through pictures and stuff. There's been so much with lies and stuff about history, so who knows? But but the landfills, just all the garbage, just how, you know, like how many couches have people owned, you know, back a long time ago, people like they had one piece of land, one house, and they just kept sharing it, giving it to the next person, giving it to the next person. And then more people could build houses on the land. And, you know, then they start saying, oh, these compounds, these people building these compounds. It's like, you know, well, this is our land and this is where we can all live. So you want to call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. And they just don't want us to live like that because they want control. And they want to convince us somehow that they can sell us something that they don't own. And they even do it through a third party, getting it to be through developers and stuff, where developers get to go in and get these pieces of land. And however, they get to buy them from the government for huge amounts of money or something. And so then the government says, oh, yeah, you can take this land. And then but this whole way that they do it is how they develop certain areas and why. It's just not all random. It's all very thought out. And so it's all very money influenced and energy directed. So it's very manipulated. And we just follow along. It's just like we just walk around behind them. Okay, what's next? What are we going to do next? And then what's even creepier is when they want to guide us, when they want us to do a certain thing or follow a certain way, they put it in the movie and they program it into our mind. So then we see something and then we see how it's reacted to. And so then that's our automatic response that we think. So they create these automatic responses in people to the things when they start to happen. So it's all through this programming where people say like that we're the creators and they need us to create it. And on a sense that is it. That is what we are creating. We are creating what it is they want us to create by directing us and how to react to things. Like that's why they're, you know, putting out these movies, Civil War, and so many movies for like the past 20 years. Like go back and watch old movies. Go back and watch movies from the 30s and 40s and 50s. You're going to find Armageddon movies all over the place. There's not going to be like, oh, it's just another Armageddon movie, another Armageddon movie. Like that is, I think, because they knew what was to come. So that's the thing is some people think is like that they tell us so we make it happen. It's like, that's not how I look at it. I look at it as like there's destined things. And then they want us to react or be a certain way. So then that they show us what they want in the movies. And so they want us to cower in fear. They want us to trust them that they're going to fix everything. But, you know, the thing is about the light coming in, it removes all the obstacles that made us see what we didn't see. Just like you have all these girls like questioning themselves, like, how did I not notice Blake Lively was like this before? Like, how am I just realizing this? And so it's like it's removing the obstacles for us to see. I mean, what's crazy is because the obstacles are inside of us. The obstacles are our own biases, our own unwillingness to see the truth, our own, it's like our own ability to hide from what's real. And so, that's why there's so much about this, connecting to this real side of you. With the real side of you is your spirit. Because all of this is a facade. Whether you're pretty, you're ugly, you're short, you're fat, you're tall, you're skinny, whatever the fuck you are, that's a facade. That's not who you are. You are is what is inside of you. The the light or the aura or something is so foggy out and it's so cold. It's so wild too to think this is mid fucking August. This should be so fucking hot and it is so cold. And I don't know. I don't know, there's so much weather manipulation. There's just so much going on. And so it's hard to, is it time? Is it that we're really going towards the end of the year now? Like, where are we in time? Where are we in this whole thing? None of that stuff even exists. And I don't know. The whole thing is so weird. It's like so, and you can get yourself so caught up and like you have to be able to keep yourself sane. This was something that I just heard somebody saying too. They were talking about, like if you've got these different things, then you have these different gifts or whatever. No, I had all these things. And but like I already knew by 2020, because that's when it started being like, I'm living life very different than everybody else. Like it started being so trippy. But that's how I started seeing like, oh, these people are cut off from their communication. They're all living programmed. They're programming. They're not thinking. They're not, it was so weird. I've always thought it was so weird. How do you be here and think that ghosts, like, I don't understand how, like, you can be so cut off from everything and think, no, that's not real. That's not real. That's not real. It's like, what? So anyways, now, but now that people are going to start seeing, because that is the way the light removes all the obstacles, all the barriers, so that you have to see. And then you have to be able to align yourself. But like this girl was saying, so the people who have these gifts or whatever, she was saying it about mentally ill people. So she was saying at some point you would have been, called crazy or something like that. And it's the people who end up being mentally ill are really people who they didn't ever get a handle on their gifts. That is what I have said for so long. I have said that the people who are like schizophrenic and stuff, these other realms are real. It's like they're being haunted by these other realms or something, because they're not getting support, because they're talking about them and then people are telling them, no, that's not real, that's not real. But it is real. And I have told people, and told people, even when I was a psych nurse, that was like my thing too. I was trying to, urge them out of their cave of suffering, and trying to get them to understand it was real. But they were so programmed at that point and so medicated that I couldn't reason with them. They couldn't, because I'd be like, well, that's real. I hear that. I talk to them. But you you can't get them to see. But anyways, those of us who could maintain and not lose it, and keep the communication going, then yeah, we know that it's real. There's really people talking. There's really, and then there's some people that get it all into like, well, it's God, it's God. And that whole thing is so weird too. Like, is there's some people, oh, well, you can't talk to God. And there's other people, oh, well, he's talking to God. Well, you can't talk. It's just so weird. It's like there's way too much hypocrisy or something, because there's people who follow people who say they're talking to God, but then they say you can't talk to God. So there's just a lot of stuff, but that is all stuff for people to wake up to. Like, I can see these different aspects of different things that people need to wake up to, just like on Blake's thing, because I was thinking, if she does have this kind of relationship where, she can't say what she wants to do, especially if she was really, very determined before to have things her way. And maybe that's why she's such a bitch out in public, trying to make sure she gets her way, because she never gets her way at home or something. Who knows? Because Ryan tries to sell himself off as being such a, nice guy. And then, and he had Mint Mobile, and then somebody just said he sold that for $1 billion. So, like, she's up there with the billionaire status. She's like got all this money, so that means that he would have all this money. But then there's also that same thing about these corporations don't have all their money, that they keep some kind of, because there's all sorts of people who've made a lot of money who are broke as fuck, as there's shenanigans. It's about making them money, like and I don't know, it's like controlling directions or something. Like, it would be, I don't know, there's just so much using people. Make like Ryan Reynolds started this whole thing all himself, because he's a genius, but really they had him do it, and then they gave him the stuff so that they could get us all to think, oh, that's so cool. Well, we're going to support that, and then take us in this other direction. And so it's always this, this what are those things called, like on the train or in the water or whatever, when they will close off a direction or open a direction, they're always trying to control the direction of how we think, what we want, our desires and stuff. And that's funny, because yeah, if they can control all of our desires and make us all be chasing this dream to be a multimillionaire, rich, loved person, which you can see, like, there's a lot of people with a lot of money who aren't loved like, by anyone, is that you well, let me think what I was gonna say, because the people who, oh yeah, so if they can keep you chasing this artificial dream, then you're less of a creator. Like, you're not creating the life that you want. Because I was thinking about this yesterday too, is all of like music and art, and just the way like the art galleries and stuff. Because back when I was younger and I wanted to, just do art, that's all I wanted to do, is and then the ordeal for galleries and to get your stuff shown, and they make like, oh, there's just so many brilliant artists, all the rest of you are just worthless garbage. And it's like, well, it's the people who decide what they like. Everybody should get a shot at showing their stuff, but see, it's all under control. And it's the same thing with the designers and stuff. That's why, to me, like, I would be picking designers like I see on TikTok and stuff. If I wanted to have something made, it's like, one of them. Because these designers that have become corporate owned, then they, there's artists that have become corporate owned, they're actors, I mean, look at Blake and Ryan. I would say they're totally corporate owned people. And so which then that in turn ends up being their kid. Like, these people just want control over you, and they will make you do dark things. Like, these are not people that you want to be owing anything to. Like, to me, I would rather go the other direction, away from these people, than to go towards them and try and, sign contracts with them and have them pay my way. Then you're going to owe them, and what they want from you is not something that you're going to want to give, I imagine. So, but if they can keep us all distracted by chasing something else. See, then we're not working on ourselves or our skills. Like, well, what's the point? What's the point of doing sports if, I'm not going to be NFL? What's the point of playing guitar if I'm not going to be a famous musician? What's the point of doing art if I'm never going to be seen? What's the point? Like, it just beats people down who have this drive and this initiative that they want to do this. And that the system is there to beat them back, beat them back, beat them back. You don't belong. You don't belong. There's way better than you. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. And so the creatives get beat down or they get used. It just depends on, your destiny, really. And so but I think that has very much been done on purpose to beat down the creatives because then, or to control them. Because in a world full of creatives that are just creating in love and in love with each other and in love with themselves and creating a world full of blessings and love, like, where's their place then? Is then we're all happy and healthy and we feel good. It's so much about our health also has to do with not just the poisoning, it has to do with our attitude towards ourselves, how we feel about ourselves. That's what feeds aging. I just feel so certain of it. And it's just this, over time, just being so beat down by life and being so angry and being so upset and depressed, all the different things, and you carry them like a burden until you release them, and they'll stay on you, and then they will age you, and then with all of the water and stuff. And one thing that I have noticed, like I was spraying my feet again with this magnesium spray, which I'm going to get some more magnesium flakes and make more of this. But this one, it really does seem to be good. I got it off Amazon. I think it was like 12 bucks or something. And because it's very oily when you put it on your feet. But oh my gosh, my hair started changing so much. Like every time I do this, like it's so weird because I'll sit there and say, oh, it looks so different. And right here, like it looks the same, but no, like it is, it's really, really making some big changes again. So to me, if you are drinking the copper and taking the magnesium and moringa or whatever it is that you're trying to use to reverse your aging, you may want to increase it. Like right now, I've been taking a lot of magnesium and I'm definitely seeing a difference. It is making my hair change faster again. So it's like, fuck, I need to really increase the magnesium. Like, I don't know how much more I could increase the copper just drinking. I mean, I drink, well, I don't know. I mean, some people would say it's not enough, but I drink like this big giant size of water. When it's really hot out too, I can drink 2 of those pretty easy. But then also I drink tons of tea, especially lately. Like, fuck, it's so fucking cold. I drink hot, well, I call it tea. But I guess because it's got matcha in it, and matcha is tea, so I can call it tea. But it's got all of those different nutrients and stuff. Because also in my leaf one, it's got mullein. So burdock root is good for detoxing, getting stuff out of you. And this is something that's so important. What was this one too? Because I just saw it was a young girl and she went and got scanned or whatever to see something about her cancer. And it's like spread all over. She's just covered with cancer. And she's very young. And a lot of people in the comments, thankfully, were the same kind of attitude as me. It's like, you got to go natural because they're telling her, like, there's nothing that they can do. And, but you got to go natural. There's so many people that are getting these diagnoses, hospice, stage 4, and then they're doing these detoxing and healing themselves. And I just know, like, that Stella had some kind of serious stuff, and I've been watching how it has healed her and how she's acting younger and better. And so, just on my own self, taking all of this detox stuff and seeing, like, you really start aging reverse. The aging stuff starts going the other direction. And so aging isn't real. It's just, it's a beat down on us. It's like a sickness. that we got to pull ourselves free from. But so you have all of these people who have, what is that? So all these people who, oh yeah, so on my teething as what, so the burdock root that, I think in the Sayak tea, it has, that's an ingredient, but that is an ingredient that a lot of uh, holistic people say is really important for detox, just like black seed oil, which I keep doing that, and it's making all the difference in my sight. I can't even believe how all this stuff is just, it's really getting better now. Like things are really starting to improve. Like I had said before when all this started, I said, let's see where I'm at in a year. I feel like, and I think it's only like about 7 or 8 months now. I don't think it's a year yet. So I see improvement. But the in the tea leaves one, so I've got that, and the moringa is a powder, so it's in my powder stuff with the matcha, the dandelion tea is a powder. Let me think of all the different ones in there. Ashwagandha, and that is good. It can help with your mental health or depression or what. It's good for that kind of stuff. So I have ashwagandha in there. I have lion's mane. Lion's mane is good for your brain and healing your brain. And let me think what else. And then all this stuff with the spices, because I have cloves in there. And cloves also is a carrier agent for getting parasites out of you. So it's good. The turmeric is good for inflammation. I put that in there. I'm trying to think of all the leaves, but the mullein, that helps clean out your lungs. And it makes, I don't know, like, I know smoking makes you cough too, so you cough out stuff, but it, I don't know, it helps clean it out. So I don't know if it promotes coughing or if it just promotes stuff to not stick in your lungs and cough out. Like, I'm not sure, but mullein is good for cleaning your lungs. And so I have those leaves in there. I have a bunch of different flowers and like hawthorn berries in there, which they're supposed to be something good. I think they do something good, like for hormones and stuff. And see, because they did those surgeries and took mine out. Then I've got to find balance. Like your body will redistribute, elaborate, it can set itself back. It like compensates. Your body figures out how to compensate for all of these different things. Oh yeah, what was that? Because that was kind of strange. Is there's more stuff coming out with the C word now, more things and more their cures and stuff. But that what was that? I just saw this. The cancer, the meds, there's a lot of stuff on this fast moving stuff that so many people are getting. And so there's more stuff about when they got these patents on these meds. There's more of this, like, this company sold it to this company, they had it for this long, and now they sold it over here. Like, there's all this just fucking bullshit, this espionage, fucking laundry and fucking stuff with all their meds and stuff. Like, oh, well, we'll hold this over here, we'll get them all sick, and then we'll bring it out. Like, so they're always doing these shenanigans on us. And then we think like they're saving us, but they're the ones that are making us sick. So, what was this one? Because I just seen this guy, it keeps popping into my head. Cancer and medicine. I can't remember. I can't see it close enough, clear enough. But anyways, all of this stuff, everything, like all the stuff with the money is everything that they keep doing and showing is to show more corruption, more corruption. That one guy, that Aeronomics guy from Israel, or wherever the fuck, he was also saying about that there's bases on Mars, and that uh, like we have bases on Mars and stuff, but the secret space program, see, we're already seeing that. So that is where you can find a crossover, because if you have a problem, like you go and listen to the secret space program, like if you watch Cosmic Disclosure on Gaia Channel and you're listening to it and you're like, oh, bullshit, no way. Because you can even find some of these guys like Corey Good, Linda Eisenhower has talked to him, like if you can find her channel, she has had interviews with them and stuff. So if you're listening to them and you're thinking, no way, that's bullshit, these guys are lying, no, there's confirmation out there. I swear to God, that's why Donald even brought up the whole thing about creating the SpaceX, was so people would start taking it serious. But then the media started making fun of him. So all the people like, oh my God, he's so stupid. But for those of us who know, we're just like, finally, someone's out there trying to say, so finally, we're going to get some fucking action here. I mean, and there is more and more things being seen in the sky of ships and stuff. That's all to catch people, everything is about this awakening. Everything is about us awakening, breaking free from our programming, and starting to develop ourselves into a higher state of consciousness. And that is, of course, a more accepting being. And I think it's important, too, to really get into the idea of your earthling. Like, we're earthlings. You don't have to be all into this, humans and dogs and cats and like we're all born here. This is our birthright. And then they're trying to take over. But see, that's what we're going into, is going into our birthright. Like, because they would take us into where they would start charging us to breathe. We'd have to carry a monitor around and see, like, how much air did you use today? There's not enough. You guys are using too much. You're going to have to cut down on your breathing. And pretty soon, you're not going to be able to pay to breathe. Then they're going to make you go in the maid, and they're going to take your consciousness and put it in a black box, because that's how they have fun. So, and when you don't think about you think like the consciousness in the black box stuff is like a little, okay, that's a little wacky, which it's not. I just saw this video of, and there's lots of these too, but it's the same concept, is these, back in the day, they didn't have a black box to stick them in, so they would make these binding boxes, and so they would trick a spirit to get into the binding box so that they could bind them in there, and then they'd wax them shut, do all those spells and all this stuff to contain them. Somebody just moved into a house and they found a couple, and they opened one, and in one of them was a Ouija board. It was all waxed closed, all and hidden and everything. Like, don't open that shit. Like, don't open that shit. Like, that's where people just, you gotta respect you gotta respect some stuff. And it's funny too, because there was like this concept in this movie, which I thought made such a good point, was because it's been in more than one movie, but somebody going and finding a kid in a cage, and they got to rescue this kid in this cage. They got to get him out, and then they go against the people, and the people had the kid in the cage because they had captured this demon spirit, and so then they let the demon spirit out, and it starts going after everybody, because then it's not bound anymore. It's back out to freedom. And in this one, it's a really cool movie too, because the spirit is bound in this room down, and it has all these binding spells or something holding them into this room, and the people there from somewhere else, and they just are like, oh my God, they've got a child down there imprisoned and stuff, so they just want to rescue this kid, but then they end up letting the devil out. So that is what you don't want to just automatically see. Like, that's your own biases. Like, maybe go sit and talk to the people and say, hey, what's that kid tied up down there? What'd they do? Don't, especially in some of these older situations. But then you also have some of these older, these older kind of people who are just so whacked out on God and the devil that they, kill innocent people, in a hormone imbalance and stuff. So, there's a lot of wacky stuff out there. But everything, you find all your truth by connecting into yourself. No, and then if you feel like your truth, you're being misled, it's like you need to break through the dark energy that is trying to interfere with your communication. Because there is that will try and interfere with your communication. So, but you can get rid of the dark energy by recognizing it for what it is and healing these parts of yourself that is bound to them with this energetic entanglement, so you can heal yourself, so that pushes them away, so that you can clear up your communication and start to understand. Because I mean, they'll tell your guides and stuff will tell you why you're here, and everybody's here for different reasons. Everybody's here to learn different things, to bring different things, to do different things. And so it's, everybody has their own communication, your own team is there to communicate with you. But that's the only, one of the big problems is what we're breaking free from too, is this dependency on other people's information. And it's crazy. I just, it's weird how much you see that on the thing. Like even people like, well, what do we think, guys? What do we think? Well, should we do this? Should we do that? It's like, man, we got to get to the point of just being individuals, just being like, oh, this is what I like. You can like it or not like it. The people who like it, yeah, we probably have something in common. The people who don't like it, we probably don't have a lot in common. It's just the way it is. You don't have to try and please everybody and be so perfect. And hey, guys, what are we going to do? What do you want me to do this one? You want this one? And it's like, I don't know. I just think that we have to get more into an independence and not, because that has too much control. There's too much control over you when you're trying to please somebody else and be what somebody else wants you to be. So there's a sense of the need to be independent, but there's a sense of you that you cannot find when you're dependent on others for the vision of you. When you can reach the point of independence, then it gives you a much more pure vision of yourself. Like you're always going to get a distorted vision of you. And this is what you're here trying to understand is yourself. Because, we are around all these other ones. And everybody is this, like I can see all these ants climbing all over each other and just the chaos. So to find yourself and to be able to understand yourself and get a vision of yourself in the chaos, because even the chaos brings out other sides of yourself. So, there's so much distortion in the trying to discover who you are. There is so much stuff to heal and to break down and to let go of. So, and there's so many stories out there. Like there's so many people, like I'm seeing person after person now being more motivated because more people sharing their story, which motivates them to share their story. And there's so many stories and there's so many people who have gone through so much stuff. People have gone through so much trauma. But, like I was saying, though, you can't force somebody else to change. You can't. They will just build resentment. When you want somebody to change, you have to figure out what are you going to change. If you don't want to be around somebody who's drinking all the time, then, you've got to maneuver through that yourself. If you're going to be like, well, you can go drink, but I'm not going to be around you. I'm going to go do my own thing. And then, if that ends up being more time apart, then you're building your life up into something different and theirs is becoming separated. So sometimes a natural separation will just begin to occur because you go in two different directions. But it won't, I've never seen it work where you can tell somebody like, you have to do this. You have to do this to be around me, because that is just going to build up. Your relationship is already breaking at that point. At the point where you're having to, it's me or this with another person, that, you need to take that as probably your exit cue. It's probably time to just move on, unless, like your lessons are probably up, but your lessons are never up until until you throw in the towel. Like, and believe me, it can go on and on and on, but you can keep going through it and through it and through it. But at some point you have to decide that you don't want to be on that ride anymore. And it's cycles. It just spins around the same thing over and over. And then, sometimes that ride gets shorter and shorter and shorter. You're just going on this little ride round and round and round and round, and it will beat you down. So you have to just decide, like, I want more from life. I want more. And no matter how scary it is, I'm going to go out there and find it. You got to think more of a warrior, explorer, and that you're safe. Like, the universe wants you to reach this point of independence, wants you to reach this point of self-discovery of what's good for you, and not trying to force other people to protect you and be what you want them to be. And, well, I want you to be here, but I don't want you drinking. Well, I want, because maybe their whole life is about being here and being a drunk and losing everything and learning all those lessons. And you're just one of the lessons in their path. So it's just, I don't know, it's just a way of looking at life in a more broader spectrum, a broader way, just like in those pictures. Like, don't just get stuck looking at the one picture. Step back and see what else you see what more develops. And, and understanding that when people are here, they're here for their learning. They're not just here for us. Like, they're here for their own lessons, and we have an effect on their lessons. We all have an effect on each other. So anyways, I've been talking a while. Hopefully I did say something to help somebody. But anyways, it's just stuff to think about, just to take notice. Everything about what's going on in this world is about you taking notice and looking at things differently and seeing more, and learning how to take care of yourself, and learning how to be independent, learning how to love yourself. That's what's important. Learning how to love yourself, love everyone, and how to have a loving day, because it's up to you. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.